Morning. It's Tuesday the 30th of August 2022 and this morning I've returned to Edale because today I'm going to be doing another classic Peak District walk. In fact, I think probably many people consider this to be the classic Peak District walk. It's amazing how much quieter Edale is at 9 o'clock in the morning. Last time I was here it was heaving. I expect it will be again when I finish the walk. Also a beautiful place. Anyway, must get on with the walk and I'm going along there. So here I am at the official start of the Pennine Way. Let's go. Great stuff. So yeah, I'm starting a section of the Pennine Way today here from Edale. And of course Edale is famous for being the start and the end of the Pennine Way. So I'm looking forward to walking a stretch of it today on today's walk. My route along the start of the Pennine Way took me westwards, as I followed a flagged path across the fields, below the impressive hills above me to my right. After a mile or so, I came to Upper Booth, as the Pennine Way passed through a farmyard. Beyond here, I turned right to follow a lane through the valley to Lee Farm. Eventually, the lane became a stony track, as it led me to a narrow stone bridge across the infant River No. So now I'm just crossing a very iconic bridge over the River No. This bridge is probably one of the most photographed bridges in the Peak District. You see lots of pictures of this particular scene. It's a very iconic spot, because this is the start of probably the most challenging part of today's walk. I'm about to climb the Great Jacob's Ladder. It's going to be a mother of a climb, but as with all climbs, it is sure going to be worth it. Let's do it. I began my long and steep climb up Jacob's Ladder. It was tough, but I took my time and marvelled at the views behind whenever I looked back. The last time I walked up Jacob's Ladder was quite some years ago actually. I did it with an uncle of mine, my Uncle Jim, who was my dad's brother. We drove up to Edale and did this very walk up Jacob's Ladder then. But back then it was a lot busier. I mean today it's so lovely and quiet in comparison. I mean I chose today for a reason and hopefully it will stay this quiet. But back then it would have been a Saturday or a Sunday. I think it was a Saturday we did it. So, nice day, lots of people up and down Jacob's Ladder. And what I remember particularly about climbing up Jacob's Ladder was seeing these guys with their mountain bikes. They were actually carrying their bikes over their shoulder. Flipping heck, you know, carrying a great big bike and climbing up Jacob's Ladder at the same time. Fair play to him, I thought. Wow. That is my memory of Jacob's Ladder.
Moving on from Jacob's Ladder, I continued to climb, bearing right towards the distinctive knoll of Swine's Back.
Wow, I'm nearly at the top now. Not much further to go. Oh, this is just amazing. When I reach those rocks, I will be on the top then. It really isn't much further. That's Edale rocks.
The Pennine Way was now heading north along the paved path, past Edale rocks. There was still a little more climbing for me to do, however, but I knew it would be levelling out soon.
Just up here, there's a trig point somewhere. So when I reach that, I know that I will be at the very top. It's funny, isn't it? I keep approaching these rocks and think, ah yeah, nearly at the top now. Then I get beyond them, and then there's a bit more to climb, so it seems never ending. But I will be happy when I get to that trig point.
It was indeed a welcome sight when at last the trig point I was looking for came into view.
I've made it, and now that I've made it to this trig point, I am now on what they call Kinder Low. But more importantly, Kinder Low is on the Great Plateau, known as Kinder Scout. Fantastic. Well, Kinder Scout is the highest point in the Peak District. It's also the highest point in Derbyshire, and it's the highest point in the whole of the East Midlands. Wonderful. And at the moment, I've got Kinder Low to myself. Okay, well I'm going to move on from Kinder Low now. So this is where I leave the Pennine Way for today. And I'm going to continue that way as I head eastwards. And I'm going to be skirting around the edge of the Kinder Scout Plateau. So, Kinder Low, although there is actually a trig point on it, it's not the highest point on Kinder Scout. The highest point of Kinder Scout is just a few feet higher than that, and it's somewhere over there on the plateau, but I'm not quite sure where. I mean, I could find it if I wanted to, but I don't think it's really that interesting to see. It's just in the middle of the plateau, marked by a few rocks, I believe. But yeah, so I'm not going to try and find that. So I'm just going to enjoy this walk. I arrived at Edale about 8:30 this morning, I think it was. Yeah, I got up about 6:15 this morning, and by the time I'd farted around and left Matlock, I sort of made my way to Edale, and as I was about halfway, I just pulled up in a lay-by. I've got this app on my phone, which is called Pay by Phone, and basically you can use it to pay for your car parking fees. It just saves a lot of trouble sometimes if you haven't got all the right change for these car parking machines. And I know that you could pay for the car park at Edale with the Pay by Phone app. Unfortunately, even though you know, I wasn't in a particularly bleak part of the Peak District when I pulled over in that lay-by. There was no internet, so I couldn't use the app, so it was a waste of time. And I knew by the time I got to Edale, I wouldn't be able to use it because that really is a blind spot. A word of warning, really. If you ever go to Edale and you try and use that pay by phone app, don't try and use it when you get to or anywhere near Edale. Make sure you use it before you leave home. What I should have done, if I'd thought about it, was sort of, you know, use the app before I left home at Matlock, and then it would have been fine. But there you go. But I honestly thought that by sort of stopping halfway in that labour like I did, I thought I'd still have a signal there, but I didn't. So there you go. So you live and learn.
My path continued following the perimeter of Kinder Scout as I came to the next rock formation called Pim Chair.
So let's just have a look around me at the moment. So I'm looking back down into the Vale of Edale now. And these rocks beyond, I think those rocks are known as the Woolpacks. Just beyond there somewhere is Crowden Tower, but I'll pass that a bit later on. Absolutely fan-bleeding-tastic. And this is what Kinder Scout is well known for. All these peat groughs, as they're called. Peat groughs are these channels of peat which are just sort of scattered all across the plateau. Yeah. It does sort of give Kinder Scout its own sort of special characteristic, really.
Passing through the Woolpacks, my views to the south extended across the whole of the White Peak. Occasionally paved, my way led me to the next rock formation.
That huge buttress of rock that I'm approaching now, that's Crowden Tower. Well, I'm at the head of Crowden Brook now, so lovely, very pleasant indeed. Yeah. So I'm looking down into the beautiful Crowden Clough. Yeah. I could scramble down that way if I wanted to get back to the start of the walk, but that's not the way I'm going today. I do know somebody who came up that way recently though, not mentioning any names, Anthony. Okay, on we go then.
I forded Crowden Brook and carried on along the path skirting the edge of Kinder Scout. Before long, I crossed the shoulder of Grindslow Knoll towards another exciting part of the walk.
Well, I'm just about to leave Kinder Scout for the day now, but I will be back another time. Kinder Scout is so big, I've only just sort of like skimmed a small part of it really today. But I will be back again soon to explore another part of the plateau. But for today, I'm approaching another challenging part of today's walk. I'm really looking forward to this actually, as I approach the top of Grindsbrook Clough. Flippin' heck. Oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going down there. That's Grindsbrook Clough. So a bit of a scramble down. I'm rather enjoying this actually. It's not as bad as I remember. I seem to remember it being a lot worse. He says as he slips on his bottom. Yeah, just one wrong footing here though. It will certainly be a case of arse over tit.
I carefully climbed down the rocky path through Grindsbrook Clough. It was tough underfoot, but the sheer beauty of the valley more than made up for it.
For me, I would say that this is definitely the hardest part of today's walk, but it's very enjoyable all the same. Just amuses me really when I've been watching other people going up the other way. I mean, to say, from 1 o'clock onwards, I've seen a lot of people now walking across Kinder Scout, and as I'm coming down Grindsbrook Clough here, and there's people scrambling up the other way. I mean, there's young families climbing up there. You know, I've seen a couple of young girls plastered in makeup, nice jeans on, you know, posh trainers, and I'm thinking, I can tell they've never been on a walk before. Oh well, it takes all sorts, but I do worry about people really that try and tackle this kind of terrain and they're not really prepared for it. Oh well, here you go.
Eventually, the path became easier as it crossed to the other side of the stream.
Grindsbrook Clough, absolutely beautiful. It's been a long time since I came down this way, but it's almost like rediscovering it for the first time. It's that beautiful. Oh well, I'm nearly back at Edale now then. So I'm just on the final stretch now, so I head back into Edale. So I think now is a good time to give a shout out. And I'm going to give a shout out to a couple of friends of mine, and that's Jed and Mel. Hi both of you, hope you're both well. I've known Jed and Mel for all the years I've lived in Derbyshire. Because like me, they're not originally from Matlock, but I think they moved up to Matlock around the same time as I did. So they've lived there, you know, the number of years I have nearly, I think. But yeah, they're a lovely couple. Jed has recently celebrated his birthday, so I saw him recently actually. I've not seen him for a while. I used to see them quite regularly because they drink in one of my local pubs, but because I don't tend to go there, that particular pub, so much now, I don't see them as often as I used to. But it's always nice to see them. They're a great couple, and I hope to join you both for a drink in the not too distant future. Jed and Mel.
The paved path soon dropped through the trees to cross a footbridge, taking me back into Edale.
Well, now that I'm back in Edale, I finished today's walk, and it has been an absolutely fantastic walk. Definitely one of the classic Peak District walks, and as some people say, it might even be the classic Peak District walk. But for me, it was lovely to do part of the start of the Pennine Way. It was lovely to do Jacob's Ladder. It was fantastic to get onto the Great Kinder Scout again. And even better, I think that last bit was my favourite bit of the walk, coming down Grindsbrook Clough. Absolutely wonderful. So now, I'm back at the Nag's Head again. And last time I was at Edale, although I did actually walk inside the pub, I didn't actually end up having a drink. The reason for that was because at the time I was getting a train. And I didn't really have enough time to have a drink and then do a few more bits of filming that I wanted to do and then get the train. But today, I've got my car, so I can spend as long as I like here. I'm going to go and have one drink. I think I'm going to treat myself. Cheers. A pint of Celtic Gold. Very nice.